Hey there, honey bunnies. Welcome to episode 23 of the Sovereign Storytellers podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Wolf. You can find out everything you ever wanted to know about me at thatmichellewolf.com, two L's, two F's. A couple things coming up. April 10th is a money course where we're going to be looking at forming a new identity about money and dealing with the addictive components of our crappy mindsets about money and using the one command process on a daily basis for I think 28 days. It's a moon cycle, new moon to new moon. You can check that out at the website. And I am going to every episode now start telling you to check out Force Reiki because I have enough data collected. It's a small amount, but it's enough to validate for my skeptical mind that it really does work, and people are seeing their lives change accordingly when they use it every day or, often. Okay, so You Are Not a Healer Part 2. I've been playing, since I did Part 1, I've been playing with, what is another word? Like, we do need to communicate to each other that, hey, I have some tools that might make you feel better or that you can use to improve a physical, mental, or emotional condition for yourself. Healer is the word we have, but like I said last time, I don't like how tangled up it is in power dynamics and the medical model and all the things that I already said. So I think for myself, I'm going to use the word facilitator because midwife doesn't sound right. Midwife sounds weird applied to, mindset changes and changing your experience of this 3D physical world by changing your mindset. Midwifery sounds a little odd, but it is kind of like that. It is standing by and supporting you and reminding you that you have all the answers. You're the one actually doing the work. You can't have a baby for someone else. When they're in labor, you can't jump in the middle of that and say, hey, you stand over there. It looks like you're suffering a little bit. Let me birth the baby. We can't do that, right? We have to stand to the side. That's part of the problem with using the word healing. We can too easily, especially when we're new, slip into thinking that we're the one birthing the baby, that we're the one doing the healing. We're not. Oh, it gets so tangly and yucky when we think we're the one doing the thing. We're not. We're offering. For energy workers, Reiki practitioners, forced Reiki practitioners, all the energy practitioners, I hope that the training you had talked about being a conduit, being a tuning fork. The next podcast, episode 24, is going to be about your body as a transmitter, which kind of fits in with this. We're a facilitator. We facilitate holding space. By holding space, I mean we check our ego at the door. Preferably you don't pick it up again, but not in the same way. We check our ego at the door and we understand our place in the process of healing. We understand our rightful place in the zone of offering something to another person who is suffering. Your tuning fork, your cell phone tower, your fireplace, you're radiating an energy which allows that other person to achieve resonance with the energy that you've already set, which is why you have to do your own work, because you want to set as high and as pure a tone of energy field for that person to come up to resonance with. I'm using the terms up and down, good and bad, but you know what I mean. It's all relative. When you get confused and think that you're the one doing the work, it completely distorts that energy field. It creates dependency. It can create dependency. Unethical healers like that. They like the high of thinking that they did a thing. They like the recurring income. And I'm going to say this is a really small percentage because I'm just hopeful and optimistic like that. I'm not always a cynic. Come on. I think it's a small percentage. I really do. But that's the thing that we need to be wary of. That's the thing we always have to check ourselves on. Am I thinking that I did the thing? It's okay to feel good after a session. Absolutely. It's okay to feel the honor in that, of having been willing to open the doors of your own household, so to speak, and let someone come close enough to you that they can take that energy and resonate with it and achieve something for themselves because you were willing to be that for them. It's absolutely okay to feel good of that, to feel proud of it, to tell everybody you know, hey, I can do this thing. Absolutely. Just don't get confused about your role in the process. They have a role, you have a role, the divine has a role, everybody has a role. Which, of course, immediately makes me think of dinner rolls, which are delicious. Humility, in my mind, is one of the most critical components of being an effective and long-lasting healer, facilitator, midwife person. If you don't have humility, you're working harder a lot of times than your client, which will burn you out. And you will take on their stuff, and you will end up exhausted and generally overweight and very ill yourself. If I see a healer who's gaining a lot of weight, I know exactly what's going on. I know for myself, when I suddenly start gaining a lot of weight, a lot of it has to do with picking up other people's energies and forgetting where I end and they begin. Something we're prone to. As empaths, it's okay. It's just part of the package, which is why it's so critical to be aware of it and to manage it on the daily. I'm in the Created Life Academy with Sandy Amorim. God, Sandy, I'm so sorry. I keep screwing up your name. But I had a session with Jennifer Gray. Not that Jennifer Gray, this other Jennifer Gray. She's so awesome. But a critical thing she reminded me of, even after I've been doing this for a billion years, is to have an end routine for the day, which I didn't have, and I've never had. I have a daily morning routine that I'm diligent about, but I didn't have an evening routine. So I'm going to pass this on to you because it's so awesome, and it's really helping a lot, and I think it will help with always remembering your role and where you're at in time and space and what mode you're in. And that's just the same thing as a morning practice. At the end of the day, being mindful of where your energy is. If you're still thinking about a client at the end of the day, you're still energetically connected to them, and you need to do something with that. You need to wrap up why you're still thinking about them. Usually, if you're still thinking about someone at the end of the day, oh boy, that was probably super loud. I'll see if I can filter that out, but I'm no editor, so if you just took a stab in the ear from that sound, I'm super sorry about that. So the end of the day routine, if you're still thinking about a client hours, days later, it's generally because you're a match with something that they're doing, and you need to process that on your end. So they have something that is triggering you, and I use the word triggering in a soft way. Like it's bringing something to your attention. Let's say it that way. It's bringing something to your awareness. You're still thinking about them and puzzling on them because there's something in there for you. And if you have this, if you go ahead and establish this evening routine, it means that it doesn't go on for days because you catch it that night. Oh, I'm still thinking about so-and-so because she's going through a thing that I've gone through. So let me see, do I still have some threads there that I need to resolve? You flip it all back on yourself. It has to have nothing to do with her or him, whoever your client was that brought to your awareness that you still have some stuff. It's all good. So the evening routine is helping energetically. So you could do that. You could also keep good client notes, which I am frankly horrendous at. I'm a completely wretched record keeper. I do have some notes, but there's no names or anything on it because God forbid anybody ever, grab that notebook and read it. So there's no identifying information on it. And also I write down just the bare minimum, just enough to trigger my memory when someone signs up for another session, or if, we're doing a longer term 4-month package. But point being, writing down some notes will also help you catch it. And it will also help you remember that you're a facilitator. You're not supposed to be doing the heavy lifting. So when you don't do that, that's when you get an unhealthy arrogance. There's that healthy arrogance, which is, yes, brag about yourself. Do it. I can't believe how hard it is for people to take a compliment still and to really own how amazing their skills and abilities are. They're learnable skills and abilities. Everybody has some natural tendencies they're born with, but you can learn anything. Assuming you're above the level of a bunch of broccoli, you can learn anything. Put in enough time. But the unhealthy arrogance is that, oh, I did that. I did the healing. I helped. I changed this for my clients. I do this for my clients. That's dangerous territory. I might be being a little dramatic here, but I do get really fired up about it when I hear someone using that language. Even saying my clients. I mean, you have to say it to express a concept, my clients. But also, when we use the word my, we're implying ownership, which of course we're not. So I don't even know what to do with that. But other than acknowledge it, we don't own people. We don't own our pets, in my opinion, although some people might argue with me on that one. When you're an empath, you have to take these things into consideration. You have to constantly be healthy in your arrogance of what you can do, while I'm not going to say guarding against, because I don't believe in that, but being very aware of your understanding of your role in the cycle. So when someone comes to me for an in-person session or a coaching session or whatever, I still, even all these years later, say, in effect, Lord, make of me an instrument of thy peace. Clear me out and set everything aside and be as pure a channel as possible for this other person in service to myself, to the divine, and to this other person or group of people. Imagine yourself as that water hose, a fire hose, a water hose, a pipe, a river, whatever mental image you want to give yourself. Pick one and then start to train yourself before every session. Do your little prayer or preparation statement, whatever you want to call it. Bring up the image of what feels good to you. I generally just see a column of light, like my head is open and I'm attached, grounded in the earth, and I see light like coming into my body and then radiating outward, just like a fireplace, really. You stand next to a fireplace and you feel the heat. It's like that. You create on purpose the space for this energy to fill you. For me, I'm drawing off trees. I'm connecting to the energy of the world's forests and tree nation and radiating that. I don't do anything these days except, say my preparation, my prayer, and there it goes. I mean, my hands are heating up right now just talking about it. So natural. But this holds true, I think, for doctors, for lawyers, for auto mechanics, as well as energy healers. We're all in this soup together. We're all bodies with the potential to tap into all these different kinds of energies just by putting our awareness on them and learning a few skills to manage them. But it's all us. We're all here together. I can't do for you what you can't do for yourself, what you won't do for yourself. I can't do for myself what I won't do for myself. And I can only be present and conscious of my choices. If you're a healer, you've got to be present and conscious for your choices. And then think about the flip side of that is being too humble, being too self-deprecating, being too far back. You are a conduit, and it does take a choice to do that. It does. You had to have made a choice somewhere that you were willing to be that, to set your mind and your ego to the side, at least temporarily, and to funnel this energy, activate it in your system, and then stand there and hold space for someone to grab it and do with it what they want. Oh, I think last time I was talking about animals as being a good example of this. And some people's tendency to chase their animal around the house saying, come here, I'm trying to give you Reiki. Sit down, I'm trying to give you energy work. Oh, animals hate that, some of them. And the cure to that is the same as for people. Just be there. I think animals are a great training place for then working with people, because you gotta just sit there. So if you're in the house and you're working on an animal, you have to just sit there. You just plant your butt on the floor or in a chair and deeply go into your state, the state that you're offering. Healthy, vibrant, alive, creating this space, holding this field around your body. And then let that animal come and go as it chooses. And they will. Like they'll, some animals don't like it. They can feel the energetic difference. They don't want it. They don't want anything to do with you. They're a little like, hey, you do you, but keep it over there on your side of the room. I'm going to go over here. Some dogs don't like it. Some cats don't like it. Some horses I hear don't like it. I've never done a forest Reiki session on a horse, so I don't know. Some people don't like it. Even they'll come to you, you can feel they're not receiving what you're offering, and that has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them, and all of that is okay. You have to sit and radiate. Let them come and go. There's so much power in that, and that's a healthy place to be. So you're not saying, I am just this vessel, I'm just this, I'm not worthy. I'm not doing anything. You are doing something. So take credit for that part and feel good about it and feel that healthy arrogance about it. But watching an animal come and go out of your energy is very instructive and really teaches you, like, okay, if I amp up my emotion in my body, this feeling, this sensation even more, what happens? Does the animal come closer or farther away? I like to tell students to go practice this in grocery stores or at the mall, sporting events. Why do people go to those? I don't know. I'm never going to understand stadium life. But go to big events like that where there are a lot of people and practice being that conduit. And just watch what happens. It will teach you so much. You don't have to be an energy worker to do this. Just play with what happens when you create. Oh, sorry, I whacked that thing again. I got to move that. If you could see me, like, my hands are all over the place. I'm just winging around here, which is why you occasionally get that sound from me running into the pop filter arm. You can just play with emotion. surely you've had the experience where you were on a high for some reason or another, some emotional high, and people were just coming out of the woodwork to be close to you, to experience being in your energy field in that space. If you're a healer, do this, because it will show you, it will teach you how to amplify or de-emphasize. What's the opposite of amplify? De-amplify? That's not right. Turn the volume down on your energy and watch how it affects other people, and watch how you have nothing to do with how they respond. How they respond is entirely up to them, whether they're your client or someone in line with you at the grocery store. It's a great training to do that so that you can depersonalize and not take it on if someone's not receiving the energy. So try this if you're an energy worker, or you just want to play with how your emotions influence the invisible field around your body, which is there. Go play with this in crowds. So it's fascinating, right? So if you turn it on, you don't turn anything on or off, but you decide that you're going to activate your energy or your mood. And you just stand there like a cell phone tower, like a tree, like a tuning fork. And you decide, okay, I'm going to be the dominant energy. I'm going to be the loudest energy in this area right here, and I'm going to watch what happens. It's kind of fun because you have like a secret, and you're offering whoever's nearby an opportunity to resonate with that and grab a little healing energy for themselves, grab a little boost if their energy's down. We're just offering that to each other, or offering that out to the world. And watch how people will like come close to you, or they'll notice you. You'll feel and maybe see people looking toward you, just like animals do. You might see them just kind of start looking around, like their body is aware of it and their mind is not. So you'll get to see the body like, whoa, where's that coming from? And then if you're super sensitive, you can feel when they start to draw on it. It'll feel like a pulling sensation out of your hands or out of your body. It's not always in the hands for everybody. It wasn't for me for a really long time. But you'll feel that being drawn on. And if you're connected, it won't drain you. You should never be drained by a session. If you're drained by a session, then again, there's something off in your process. You should be the same or more feeling better. If you're ending energy sessions tired, maybe we'll talk about that on a different one, or maybe that's what I'll put in part of the course. I'm going to develop a course for healers and their coaches, therapists, if they want it, facilitators and whatnot, to do some deeper training on this and to look at why you might not want to be, what your ego is like wanting to hold on to in that exchange, and filling that need a different way. But so play with it and watch how people come closer to you or move farther away. Because if people don't want that, they aren't wanting to be happy, healthy, they don't want to go there yet for whatever reason, it's not our business. Watch them move a little further away, or get a little like, start to get a little, what am I looking for? Antsy, a little antsy. Start to like fidget around, not really super comfortable standing next to you anymore. Play with that, and I'd love to hear what you think. I'd love to hear what you think about any of this, because I know that some people disagree. In spite of my own popular opinion, I'm not always right. I'm probably not even right 50% of the time, but I'm right for myself, and that's all that matters. So how are you doing it? Are you aware of how powerful you are, that you can do that you can influence the energy all around you and be a gift just by being? You don't have to do anything but make yourself feel amazing. And by doing so, you're offering people opportunity. You're facilitating a process for other people to really be fed by, to be nurtured by, to access and trigger and remind themselves that of their own healing capabilities? Are you aware of that? That's amazing. That makes being a human worth all the other garbage that comes with being a human. Knowing that we can do that we can take conscious control of what we're radiating and be a gift to ourselves and others just by breathing, just by standing in a line and making a choice to activate these processes, that's incredible. That's how powerful we are. And I wish that we used it more. I wish that we were more conscious of it. And I wish that we used it more to stand and radiate joy versus what we tend to do, stand and radiate grumpiness because we're dwelling on our own we're dwelling on our own things that we think we should feel grumpy about. So anyway, take what you will. Hopefully that triggers some inspiration for you, some thoughts about how you're doing your work, or some thoughts about maybe you want to pursue this kind of work for yourself or others. Everyone who takes Force Reiki isn't doing it to start a business. Some people are doing it to facilitate their own growth and to make it easier to be in a physical body, to stop living just from the neck up and start to really inhabit this, meat vehicle that we're driving around all day. So think about that. If you want more information, of course, go to the website, thatmichellewolf.com. Force Reiki's right there at the top. There's other opportunities to work with me. Sovereign Storytellers is coming up. It's not really coming up. It's not till July. But the money course is coming up where we talk a lot about this stuff. Conscious choice, consciously being awake and aware, how that impacts your environment, which impacts your choices, which eventually creates your reality and your mindset and all the things. All right. In the meantime, till we talk again, think less, feel more. Go forth and radiate. Talk to you next time.